Hi everyone, it's Amy with Paper Moon Journals and welcome to today's craft session. If you're looking for a fun, creative, and budget-friendly way to make beautiful Valentine cards, you're in the right place. In today's video, I'll show you how to create a stunning, fancy boxed Valentine card complete with delicate paper flower decorations. This is a great project for anyone looking to mass make cards for loved ones or even use up some of those scrapbooking supplies that have been piling up. If you have a huge collection of paper flowers like I do, this is the project for you. So much fun making these little boxes. I came up with two different projects that are going to be using little boxes like this. One is going to be a box with 3 Valentine cards inside, and when you mass make them, you can mix and match the colors, which is fun. I'll show you some that I have prepped and ready to go. So here's some that I have prepped and decorated, just ready to be glued up. And you can see that I was using two-sided paper here. So I just used the reverse side to decorate, or if you ink around the edges, or here's where I made a blue one and a white one at the same time. And I reversed the different colors. You have lots of options and ideas. These little boxes are so fun. I also made Christmas cards with Christmas themed paper, but today we'll be using Graphic 45's La Elegance. Le Romantique. That's right, Le Romantique papers. And I have one already cut to get started. And then I just had so much fun making these. I must have made 7 of the kind we'll be making today. And then I don't know how many I'll be making of the other ones. Here's how nice it looks with the two-sided paper. If there's a directional paper, I like to use that on the inside. Then it's upright all the way. And then just use the reverse side of the paper to reinforce the box and to decorate it. And then this one, I just used scraps of papers off my desk to decorate the box. The polka dots and the sheet music weren't scrapbooking paper at all, but they were scraps over by my cutter when I was working. And so I used them to decorate the box that I made out of manila, which really helps your scrapbooking papers to go farther. You're running low. And then here's the card inside of this one, where I covered with a variety of flowers. I have my paper flowers in drawers sorted by color, and it's just a huge assortment by a variety of companies. And I've used up most of those making these cards. That was nice. I really prefer the Graphic 45 Rose collection. I like using that a lot, and that's one that we'll be using today. So here's what we need to start is a sheet of 12 by 12, and you cut it into 7.5 inches wide first. And then with the remaining sheet, you cut a 1/2 inch off of that. It's 4.5 inches wide. So you cut it down to 4 inches wide and you have a 1/2 inch strip. And then you cut it into 2 5-inch pieces. And we just have the one piece extra that we don't need. And the little 1/2 inch strip we'll cut into also 5-inch pieces to decorate the sides of the box. We could also use that little scrap piece cut into 1/2 inch pieces to finish decorating the box if you wanted to decorate all the way around the sides. That's what it looks like depending on which color you want up. The boxes are super easy to make. I'm going to get my scoring board out. We'll be scoring this at 1 inch all the way around. So since it's 7.5 inches, we'll be scoring it at 1 inch and 6.5 inches. Trying not to bump the camera. It's a bit awkward for me. And then I rotate it and score it at 1 inch and 11 inches. It's just 1 inch all the way around if you're using your ruler. And then I believe if you wanted to just score it, it's 4.5 and 5.5 inches are the remaining score lines. But instead, I just fold this to the first score line and then rotate it and do the same thing with the other side. And that's the basic of our box. We'll want to cut little wedge-shaped pieces out of the long side where it meets this 1-inch fold line up to that 1-inch fold. Where each one of our score lines are, we'll cut a tiny little wedge out on both of the long sides, like the pieces I had already prepared. But I'll go ahead and do this with you. Just going to work in the creases, make them a little bit easier to see, and then just cut a tiny little wedge out up to that 1-inch score line that we made. Just pull it out. I like that it's easy to know where to cut. There's just both of the long sides, every little score line, cut a little triangle out. Very simple. I love making boxes. And then since we make this one from scratch, it's easy to decorate with it laying flat on our desk, or at least we'll start decorating it with it flat on our desk. And then I did list this and some other ones I had made for sale, and they already sold. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's people buying at my Etsy shop that gives me the funds to buy more crafting supplies. I don't have a budget for this, and funds are really tight at our house. So it's my sales that allow me to get all the cool stuff that I use to make these, like these really pretty papers. After selling the card set, I went and ordered some more supplies that I needed. Went back and got some more glue sticks, I know for sure. And I was running low on some lace. I'm not sure I've reordered the lace. But each time I make a sale, I make a point to use some of the money to go and get some supplies that I needed. So I could do it with the writing on the outside and the flowers as the decoration, the flowers on the inside. I think I like the flowers on the outside. Again, it's directional with the writing. So if we put that on the inside, then everything will be right side up. So we'll do it this way. And then if you want it to be left-handed, you want to put it upside down for, the way I'm doing it. If you want it to be a left-handed box for our left-handed friends. I'm going to go ahead and use glue stick today. I find I get less rippling and warping when I use glue stick. And if you get a nice thick layer on there and burnish it down, it will not come up. I could have cut these strips to the 5-inch length that I needed while I was over the cutter, but instead I'll just use the piece that's here as a guide and then cut the strip to size, just using that as a guide. I'll cut 2 little pieces for our box. Of course, once I have 1 piece, I can use that to measure the second piece. And glue those down. The next thing that you'll want is to have a card base, a 4x5 card base. I'm making these flat cards, so I glued my card base shut, and so it doesn't really matter, which way your card base would open if you're doing it like me. I wanted the extra sturdiness and strength for the base of having it, glued shut. So that's what I did. Prepare mine. I believe I also rounded the corners and then cut a 3 3/4 by 4 3/4 inch piece to mount the top of that in advance of meeting with you all here. But the next thing we'll want to do is to find a focal point to decorate our box before we glue our box together, and maybe a matting piece to layer that on top of. Find an image that we like. I think I'm going to use this one, and the little black border around the edge is enough for me. It's like I'm running out of glue. It's a constant problem. There we go. I think this couple looks nice. And now I'm ready to start gluing it shut. This is the lid, so I'll want to err on the side of making this as big as possible. So I'll want to bring that up just slightly wider than a right angle, making it just a little bit bigger for the lid. And I'll do the opposite thing with the other side. I'll bring it in a little bit tighter than a right angle for the bottom. So here's the rest of the top. And with the Art Glitter brand glue, if you just hold it for a couple seconds, it will grab. That's all I'm doing. And I'm holding it just slightly bigger than a right angle when I bring that side up. And then for the bottom, I like to fold in the sides a little and glue that down. I think it makes it easier to close the box. This little piece out of the way. I used to do this to the lid, and then I realized, wait, if I make this side the bottom, then the lid is nice and smooth and continuous all the way around. We just fold the tabs in, add the glue, and then lift them up. And this time we're going to make it kind of leaning in a little. Since we mitered our corners and angled the cuts, I actually make it flush with the angled cut that I did. You see there. And that's it. Our little box is done and basically decorated. I think it might be hard to assemble if we had added the flowers and everything to the box first. So you could see that's just the right size if you wanted to cut it into 1/2-inch strips for the other sides. But I'm not going to do that. I'll just leave it like this. Let's decorate the outside of our box. I'd like to add a nice double bow like this, but not in the lavender. I've got some lace hanging out here. I think it would look nice with some lace and a bow. Let me, black would look nice. Let me go grab some supplies and meet you back here so we can decorate the box. Okay, so I went off and I grabbed a package of Graphic 45 flowers. They're paper roses and some black lace. And then now I'm doing the fancy double bow trick, or at least I'm trying to, where you get one end wrapped around your finger to hold it tight. And then you wrap it twice around both of your hands. And you need to make sure that there's 2 ribbons going all the way around. And then you tie it into a knot around the 2 loops that you've created around your fingers. Sorry, I've gotten off camera. I was not looking up at the camera while I was fumbling with this. My apologies. But I just tied it into a knot around the 2 loops. And then once I had the knot tied around it, I can pull it off of my fingers and open up the little loops and cut the ribbon ends a little bit shorter. I think this gold color, this is actually seam binding. I like seam binding. It's really soft and thin. It makes really pretty, delicate bows that aren't too bulky. There we go. That'll look nice. And I like this black lace. So I'll just cut that off. And we'll want to add some flowers to the box as well. I love these Graphic 45 roses. They're so pretty. I wish I'd bought more when they were on sale. Their Black Friday sale. These peach colored ones were on sale. And I've almost used all of them up making Valentine's projects. And just coil up. You can cut off the extra wire or you can coil it up and then just make it part of the decoration. Then I just play with it to see what I think looks nice. I think that little one looks like too much, and it ends up down at the bottom. This looks nice. I think I'm ready to glue it down. It's also helpful if you put something inside the box, which I do open the box and put something inside it at some point when I realize it's a lot easier to press down on the flowers if there was something in the box. Some matte gel medium can be good when you're adding dimensional flowers like this. More than once I was wishing I had my matte gel medium out and used that to apply this down. And if you kind of bend the flowers to bunch them together a little, I find that looks nice. Now I'm realizing I want something inside to help me press down, so I'll just use this little mini album in the corner I'm pressing on. Just want to hold that down for a few seconds. And then we'll move the little thing inside. It's filling the inside to the bottom, so I can press down on the bottom now. The little 3x3 mini album. That's another project that I have planned for January. I have tutorials planned for every Saturday. I have this one planned for today. I expect I will film and do the 3x3 mini album Valentine for the second Saturday of the month. Then the third Saturday we'll return back to boxed card sets, and we'll make it's with the Prima papers. We make a box and 3 Valentines with handmade envelopes to go inside. That's going to be week 3. And then what did I have planned for week 4? A folio. I think it was a folio where I can use up some of those bigger 12x12 papers. So I refilled my glue there. And then now we have enough to stick the bow down. And then move the bow down and make room for that flower we wanted up above the bow. These are so pretty. And it was so delightful to have sold them already. The day that I listed them, they sold, which was so exciting. It was to a regular customer. She must have seen my post. So I'm not normally, I don't consider myself a card maker. I do make cards, but that's just because I have all the supplies, and cards are so expensive. I would feel ridiculous spending so much money, enough to buy a whole beautiful paper flower pack like I have here from Graphic 45, to buy some cheap little mass-made flat card with no dimension. You know, so yeah, I just can't. So you could have the left-right facing card if you make them yourself like I did, or I had the top opening ones that are the ones that I'll be using for the Mass Make Valentine project. But I think I just took one of these and I just glued it shut so that it'd be nice and sturdy. So let me show you how to make the card bases out of a 12x12 if you want. If you want to make the top loading one, which is my preference, it's nice whether you're left-handed or right-handed is the thing. So then it doesn't matter which size kind of box you made. So the first thing I did was to cut 2 inches off of my 12x12, giving me a 10x12 sheet. And then I'm going to take that strip, fold it in half, glue it shut, and put it in my tag top punch and add it to my stash of tags. That's what I do with my strips. My scraps that are strips. Pretty sure I have a little short video where I shared that. It's a great way to get rid of all those. I have a nice ring of tags ready for use. And then, so after cutting it to 10 inches, then we cut it into 4-inch strips so that they are 4 inch by 10 inches. And when we fold them in half, we have a 4x5. If you wanted to make the style that opens the other way, you only get 2 per sheet, but you cut it to 8 inches tall, and then you make it 5 inches wide. And then when you fold it in half, you have a 4x5. that that hinges left to right instead of top and bottom. So I've gone off and gotten more supplies. I used up almost all of the chipboard pieces making these two. I had so much fun mass making, again, seven little floral boxed cards. And then, so I'm going to get some of the chipboard pieces out. I'll back some things on chipboard. We're just playing it by ear here. I like tying a little ribbon to the top of this little piece of chipboard. I'll use as a decoration. And then what else do we want to use for this? I also have stickers. I could back a sticker onto something and use that. I think I'll do that. I'll take the sticker here and back it onto some cards so we can use that. And cut that out. And then I'll want some postage stamps. So let's cut some of these off and save these. We'll back these onto card 2, actually. Or chipboard. I want to back it onto this chipboard scrap. Decisions. I think I'll just go ahead and back it onto the scrapbooking paper for now. And then we can add it onto chipboard also if we want. I like having the black border around it. So we'll do this. Why don't I speed this up while I get these cut out? I want something for the background, and for most of these little cards I just used a 3 3/4 by, or 2 3/4, or is it 4 by 5? 3 3/4 by 4 3/4 inch piece. But instead, since I had the backing of these paper flowers, I just cut that down and I cut the edges into what I thought were interesting shapes. I decided I liked the beige side a little bit better, so I flipped it over. We missed a little bit of footage here, but not too much. I did remember to turn the camera on eventually. So I make a little triangle out of some scrap card and use that to prop up our main focal point at an angle to add some dimension to the card. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. We know we're using this. And then I have this scrap of lace that I want to add to the top of it. I'm not sure if we can see this lace at all when we're done, but it's a process. And then let's glue our little triangle. It's the same kind of thing that I make when I'm doing shadow boxes to get things to stand up off the ground or off the back. I make a little triangle of card, and then I can always smash it down more if I want. But it'll be kind of springy. And then I just start adding flowers. Without any real plan. After adding my focal point, I just start kind of maybe hold a couple things up to see if they look good, maybe just directly glue them down. I think I want to, some of the big ones up at the back. We want it to look nice from every angle. And then let's take some of these little roses and coil up the wire for those. And also just cut the wire off. you know, like we did on the box. We coiled it up, and I mentioned we could cut it off as well. There we go. Need to remember to add plenty of greenery. I tend to like to bunch some of the flowers together and then come back and add the greenery in nooks and crannies where it looks like it needs it. I like how that little rosebud looks up there. Maybe we want some lace across the bottom here before we fill it up too much more. I don't know if we see any of the lace when it's done. I can't recall. That rose isn't stuck down yet, so we can push the lace under there. Let's try maybe another big rose with some little ones in between, or put that one up on top. Why don't I speed this up since I'm hemming and hawing about what I'm doing here, and we can just watch me create it in high speed since there's no real lesson to be learned here aside from I just play with it until I think it looks nice.
When the bell of fate starts to ring, a glass slipper remains the proof of everything. In this cold, empty room all alone, I remember the warmth of your smile that shone. Like Cinderella, dreams are soaring high, believing in miracles, wishing on the stars.
I filmed another video making one of these for TikTok, and I got carried away and went too far. It got too busy, so that would be my caution when you're making this, would be maybe take some photos as you go, walk away, come back, and maybe try not to go too far with it. If you get too much on there, it just doesn't look as good as if there's not as much. So I think that looks nice. I like putting them inside the little box for everything to dry and to set, except I forgot to add some glitter. We need to add some glittery sparkle to this. So I've got my Stickles glitter. I'm going to add a little bit to her ring and like her earrings, to the edges and borders of some things. So it'll be nice and glittery. And then maybe ink up the flowers. That would have been much better done if I'd done it before I put them on, to distress the flowers a little. I think they're pretty. I love how it came out. Somebody else did as well, since it's already sold. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll give this a try. If you do, please tag me in it. I'd love to see what you made. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Please like, subscribe, and share the channel with anyone you think might enjoy the content. Thanks again.
Destiny's thread will pull us tight. Now the dawn is breaking, but the dream won't end with you by